Welcome to MarcusG.tv. I'm Chef Marcus Guiliano. I'm a chef on a mission. Today's mission is how to set up a business partnership, how to set up a restaurant business partnership specifically. First off, head over to 50mistakes.com, 50mistakes.com. That is my free Cyber coaching website. Tons of great information on there, tons of awesome videos, all on this kind of stuff, all on business operations, restaurant coaching, tons and tons of different topics there. If there's not a topic that you're interested in, ask and I shall make a video. So I've been asked several times about business partnerships in restaurants. And this is a tricky subject, okay? Because a lot of people don't go in with a proper business agreement. One person has money, one person doesn't have money. I've been part of 2 restaurants that I've been a partner in, that I've been a business partner in. Both of those restaurants I did not put any money into. My current restaurant, Aroma Thyme, I am the only investor / partner in this restaurant. Nobody else is involved. It's just myself and my wife. We are the ones who funded it 100%. We're the ones who run it 100%. We do have management staff. We have key personnel. They take the load off of us, and it makes it easier for us to be restaurant owners. However, with that being said, what happens if your buddy says, hey, I want to invest in you. I have $50,000, I have $100,000. Let's open up a place. We'll go 50-50 and I'll put up all the money. So here are the basic guidelines. Here are some basic principles that have been proven to be effective over and over. And I have several friends that are doing this. Now, of course, you can be very creative with the way you open a restaurant and the way you fund a restaurant and the way you set up your partnerships. Extremely creative. But this formula that I'm going to tell you is one of the more popular ones, okay? The one thing I want to make about this point is the person putting up the money needs to understand, are you a working investor or are you just an investor? Because for me, if I'm going to open a restaurant, somebody comes to me and says, Marcus, I have $250,000 for you to open a restaurant, $500,000 for you to open a restaurant. I want to run that restaurant by myself, okay? I don't want a partner. When you have a partner, an operating partner, that's when things go haywire. When you have an investor, that's different than a partner. Those two are different. That's the point I want to make in this video. For the average person, they're just taking 50 grand or 150 grand from a family member or somebody else, a friend who's loaning them, or somebody who just met them and say, hey, you're the chef at this restaurant. I really like what you're doing. I got some money, which basically happened to me in Colorado. I thought I was going for an interview at a fancy country club, and the F&B director was like, no. After the interview, he was like, no, I'm opening my own place, and I want you. I like your food. I've seen what you've done in other places, and you're my guy, and I'm bringing you in as a partner. So, with this being said, partner versus investor. So let's start on a small scale here. Let's say 2 guys get together, and they say, hey, Joe, I have 50 grand. Let's go open a place down the street. And Joe goes, hey, Tom, that's a great idea. And Joe goes, yeah, let's go 50-50. I'll put up the money and you do it. Big mistake. It's never 50-50. Here's how this works. If you're a guy that has 50 grand or 150 grand, you're going to fund something 100% to a chef, a known chef. You pay them a salary. They can get a bonus based upon the performance of the restaurant, but they don't get equity until 5 years. Here's the crucial part. 5 years is going to take for them to get equity. That means they have to bust their butt for you for 5 years and prove themselves. And then you're going to cut them 20%, 30%, 40%. There's no reason to ever give anybody 50-50 or 59, 51, 49. If you're putting the money in, it's your money, okay? If you're an investor in a restaurant, there's no reason for you to work the restaurant. You're the investor. If you're going to put in 50 grand or 150 grand into a restaurant and work every day, you're buying yourself a job, okay? That's buying a job. You don't need to buy a job. You can go to work for somebody else and not have to buy a job. Huge difference between an investor and an investor who wants to be a managing partner. That means you're buying yourself a job. I can't stress that enough. You're buying yourself a job. Don't buy yourself a job. You put that money in the hands of somebody who you can trust. You monitor the finances. You have key points that you manage every week and every month. There's numbers that you have to manage: food costs, labor costs, certain percentages. How are sales going? You stick to a budget. So you can lay all this out to your managing chef, your managing partner, who, by the way, put no money in, by the way. you can lay all these key points out where every week you want to know the labor. Every week that person goes to you with a report and says, hey, Tom, here's my report on our finances for the week or the month. Here's our profit and loss statement. I know so many businesses that they have partnerships like this that they don't even look at a profit and loss statement at the end of the month. They have no idea what they're making, what they're doing wrong, what they're doing right. They don't know their food costs, and that's because some guy gave another guy 50 grand to open up a place, and there's nothing being measured. And then all of a sudden they have problems and altercations with each other because nothing was ever defined clearly. And all of a sudden now the guy who's busting his butt wonders why Tom, the guy who put the money in, isn't working his fair share. See, Tom never wanted a job. Tom only wanted a restaurant. He wanted a bar. He never wanted to buy himself a job. He just gave money because he had money and because he believed in you. So don't get upset that that Tom, the guy with the money, is not sitting there punching in every day. Tom's job is to come in and say, hey, I want to manage my investment, but I want to manage it via the books. I want to manage it via our online reputation. I want to manage it in a managerial role, not where I'm punching the clock every day, not where I'm bartending, not where I'm waiting tables, this and that. That's not the role of an investor. That's the role of a partner. When you go in to a business, you're either going in, if you're the money guy, you're going in as a partner or you're going in as an investor, okay? Now, if you're going in as a partner and if you're gonna work day to day on the operations, and then the guy you're funding is gonna work day to day, there's no reason you should ever give anybody 50-50 on that, 49-51. There's nothing like, that doesn't, that if you do that, you're stupid. You're downright stupid if you do that, okay? You invest money. I'm talking to the investor here, is who I'm really talking to. You're the investor. You put the money in. The guy works for you. He waits 5 years. After 5 years, you give him 20%. You give him 30%. There's no reason to go close to 50-50. Up to those 5 years, you give him bonuses based upon overall profit of the restaurant. So the more he runs it like his own restaurant, the more he gets compensated. There's two different ways to look at his salary. You can either pay him less of a salary for more equity after 5 years, okay? Or you can pay more of a salary for less equity. There's no reason to pay a guy 50 grand, okay, and give him 40%. You might want to pay him 35 grand and give him the 40%. See, there's all different ways to maneuver and work this around. And I know most people's thoughts when they go into this is say, hey, I got 50 grand, let's go 50-50. Wrong, wrong, wrong. So that's a basic rundown of how to set up a business, an investor, a partnership, whatever you want to call it, some kind of partnership. That's the best way to set up. Of course, there's many other ways where, basically you're investing in a person who you put your faith in. And if you have not put your faith in that person, you need to manage them every day. You invested in the wrong person. Flat out, flat out, flat out. Go to an attorney, get a flawless business agreement, get exit clauses, get all kinds of things that allow you the flexibility of buying somebody out, not buying somebody out. So for instance, if these two partners, the investor who gave all the money, and then the guy who's just working there as a sweat equity wants to walk away after a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, there's zero for him. There is zero for that person. That person needs to wait 5 years to get equity and prove himself for 5 years and proven himself to manage all these key points and to make that company money, okay? At that point, if he's not the one doing that, there's an out right there. That's not the person for that investor. That's not the person for that business. That's not the person for that corporation. But to walk away after 2-3 years and think you're gonna sell your share, that doesn't exist in the real world. Okay, does not exist with real investors, does not exist in a real business movement, okay? This is a hardcore business lesson that I'm telling people here that I know most of them are not gonna agree with me on because I've talked to a ton of people on this. They're like, no. Trust me, this is the way it needs to be done. I'm Chef Marcus Guiliano. Thanks for watching. If you like my videos, please hit like, subscribe to my channel, and definitely pass it on.